What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to my channel for another great video. All right, this video is going to specifically be targeted towards any beginner trader looking to get started investing in trading stocks and anybody who wants to be a part-time trader. Part-time traders are usually the people that still work a 9-to-5 job, or they work part-time and don't have as much time to actively trade stocks or actively do research on different stocks to trade. So the biggest problem I see a lot of beginner traders and part-time traders getting stuck with is how to find or what good stocks there are to trade. So ask yourselves, are you in that spot where you're always looking for a good stock to trade and it always seems like you're missing the big move, or you just can never find a good stock to trade on any given day? So you're kind of stuck, just wandering around the stock market wondering, where are these good stocks? I see everybody else trading. Well, today specifically, I'm going to show you how you can find great stocks to trade all the time using literally one simple step, and it's all free. Okay. Now, of course, there's more that goes into it rather than just looking here and looking at the stock. Of course, you still have to know how to trade, and you still have to have the basic fundamentals of trading down in order to really capitalize on these stocks that are moving, of course. But today I'm going to show you exactly how you can find these stocks. All right. Now, this is going to occur 4 times out of the year. What I'm going to be talking to you guys about is earnings plays or earning seasons. When companies start releasing their earnings report, how well they did for the quarter. Are they up on revenue? Did they beat their earnings, or is their guidance, or has their guidance been raised? This is a big moment. Every time companies come out with their financial reports, it usually means raining money, literally, okay? Earning seasons happens 4 times a year for each quarter: quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, and quarter 4. So every single stock or every single company that is publicly traded in the stock market has to legally report their financial results for each quarter. And when they report their financial results during these time periods, stocks tend to see extreme volatility and a lot of volume, which then results in easy or big plays in order to essentially make money. Now, I'm going to show you guys where you can find which stocks are having earnings on which dates, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and start sharing the screen, but please stay tuned and don't lose focus, because this video is probably going to be one of the most beneficial videos for some of you beginner traders and part-time traders. So don't worry about buying a scanner or going and looking around and researching stocks for hours, because I'm going to show you how you can literally find these stocks in the matter of seconds, and you're all done with your work in regards to actually researching and finding stocks. All right, so let me go ahead and start sharing the screen for you guys. 1 second. Here we are. All right, so as you can see here on the screen, you guys are probably seeing what's called earnings whispers, okay? So right now, I'm actually on Twitter, and that's okay if you're not on Twitter, but you can go to twitter.com and create a login. So first, I'm going to talk to you about this. So earningswhispers.com, or earnings whispers in general. Earnings Whispers is a website and or a business that specifically focuses on earnings plays and announcing when companies are coming out with their earnings. Now, the reason I specifically like earningswhispers.com or their Twitter page is because they make it very simple to follow. And the reason I like Earnings Whispers Twitter account or page better than I do their website is because of this. I'm going to scroll down the page here, and then I'll actually, once we get there. So let's get to the most recent kind of one. So when you're on their Twitter page, this is specifically what I am looking for. This little guy right here, and I'll go back to it. You see this, how it says most anticipated earnings release, and I will actually circle this here, right here. Most anticipated earnings releases, okay? This is why I like their Twitter account, because they post this quick, simple screenshot or snapshot of the most anticipated earnings releases. So on any given day in the stock market, you could have multiple companies releasing earnings. But of course, there's going to be companies when they release earnings that don't really do much. And we don't want to get stuck with the companies on earnings days that aren't really doing much. We want the good ones that are moving good values and that have good trades to be made on them. So that's specifically why I like their Twitter account. Their Twitter account or Twitter page has these quick little screenshots or snapshots, okay? So let me delete this and then we'll pull it up in a big view, okay? So when we look at it like this is all you see, the most anticipated earnings release. And during the busy earnings seasons, each week they will send an updated picture, just like the one you see here, with all the upcoming earnings for that week of trading. So if you look at this one, as you can see, it shows Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, okay? And they'll even tell you whether or not the companies are having earnings before open, which means in pre-market trading, or if they're having it in aftermarket, which means after close. So each and every week, you could pull up Earnings Whisperer's Twitter page. You can look at this little snapshot that they upload and you can go, oh, I see Restoration Hardware is having earnings this week. Oh, Five and Below is having earnings this week. Ulta Beauty, GameStop, Zoomies, Cladera, Workday, et cetera, and the list goes on. Now, what you need to understand in terms of these earnings plays is this. The companies on earnings day, or when they're releasing their financial report, whether it's pre-market or after hours, it doesn't matter. Usually the best earnings plays or best stocks to trade essentially during those earnings seasons and reports are going to be your big name companies. Big name meaning you recognize the name when you see it. So right now, looking at my screen, okay, when you're looking at this screen, which companies do you recognize the most? Well, I can tell you right now, just by looking at this screen, I can tell you that I recognize the company Restoration Hardware. I recognize Duluth Trading. I recognize, right off the top of my head, Five and Below. I recognize Broadcom. I recognize GameStop. I recognize Zoomies. And just because I recognize these ones only, it does not mean that any of these other stocks or other names on here will not have good earnings, okay? But as you can see by the headline of this picture, it says most anticipated. It doesn't necessarily mean they're all going to be the greatest or that any of them are going to be any worse than the stock next to them, but this is the most anticipated earnings release. So what they're doing here is they're cutting out a lot of the work for you. Rather than you searching up and saying, these are all the earnings releases today, they're basically saying, hey, these are going to be the most anticipated earnings, which means these are most likely going to be the most active earnings plays in which are taking place this week, okay? So we're going to take this picture down and we're going to scroll down to the next one. All right. So let's go down to the next one. And of course, on their their Twitter page, they do some cool things with charts. So you can also learn some cool, nifty, like, analyzing tricks possibly through their Twitter page, or even their online website with the other, informational charts they post and things like that. But in terms of myself, I just strictly use them in terms for their earnings plays and little snapshots. All right, so let's keep scrolling down, and here's the next one. So this was the most anticipated earnings releases for August 7th to August 27th, 2018. All right, looks the exact same as the previous picture we looked at. Now going through here, let's see which companies do you recognize the most. Well, I recognize Box, I recognize Best Buy, I recognize Tiffany & Company, DSW. What else do we have on here? Dick's Sporting Goods. We have American Eagle Outfitters. We have Salesforce. And then I don't really know too many off the top of my head there. Oh, look at Dollar Tree, Dollar General, Abercrombie & Fitch, Burling, TD Ameritrade, Campbell's Chicken Noodle and Soup or Campbell's Soup Company, Ulta Beauty. Big Lots, right? Ooh, Lululemon. Everybody loves a little bit of Lululemon in their life. What else do we have here? American Outdoors. Probably some few other ones here. Maybe, oh yeah, here's this Chinese company, Billy blah blah. Anyways, so you get the point. These snapshots give you the most anticipated earnings, okay? So here's the deal. The reason this works so well is because I stated earlier, when companies come out with their earnings reports, they usually see a lot of volatility and a lot of volume coming into those stocks on that day. So if we rewind the tape here, and let's take me, for example, let's say I'm a beginner trader. I'm just getting involved in the stock market. I know I can make money and I know stocks can move. The big question I'm going to have for myself is, well, I see people on YouTube making money trading. I see all these stocks have these big days, but I'm never watching that stock on the day that it's having a big move. How do I find that? So then you start thinking to yourself, well, maybe I need to join a chat room so somebody else can tell me that stocks are starting to move. That's not a bad approach. Or maybe I need to find a stock scanner that's going to alert me when these stocks start to move. Well, that's a pretty good idea. But now I have to come into how do I actually build the stock scanner? If you're just getting involved in trading, the likelihood of you building a successful and or properly working stock scanner to do exactly what it is you would like, that's going to probably be pretty complicated and pretty frustrating and hard. Okay, you could go on YouTube. I've had some videos about how to make some scanners. There's other videos out there how to make scanners, but at the end of the day, you still got to build it. And whether or not they work correctly 100% of the time, that's still the $1,000,000 question. But what's not going to fail you, and what's not going to ever fail, is a company having an earnings report. They have to have earnings reports. They have to do this 4 times a year. Okay. So that means 4 times a year, the same company will most likely have a very active trading day or trading week on the week they release their earnings. So without you ever having to use a scanner or question where can I or how do I find these stocks, you could simply use earningswhispers.com or their Twitter page. Now, there's other websites that you could use to find earnings dates and plays, but I specifically like to use earningswhispers.com. And I'm going to tell you guys that you should also use earningswhispers.com because I use it and I find it extremely helpful, very clean, simple to follow. Okay, that's it. They create a very easy, simple to follow approach to finding which stocks are going to have earnings. Now, the nice thing about Earnings Whispers is this picture. The reason I like them so much, again, is this picture. For some newer traders, they're not going to know right off top of their head what Best Buy's ticker symbol is. They're not going to know what Dollar Tree's ticker symbol is. But by them or Earnings Whispers giving you this picture, everybody knows the brand name logos or these big company logos. They've been engraved into our brains since we've been born. So when you look at this picture, you can simply go, yeah, oh, I know Dick's. Oh, I know American Eagle Outfitters. I know Dollar Tree. Right? It's becoming something of familiar, right? You're familiar with these companies. So right off the bat, just by looking at this picture, you can already see the light bulb turning on your head going, oh, I know that company, right? I know what they do. Rather than seeing the ticker symbol, you're seeing the logo, you're seeing the brand. And since we've been born, a lot of these big name companies have been engraved in our brain and just we know them. So right off the bat, when you see the company logo on this nice little snapshot that Earnings Whispers provides, you're instantly starting to get the gears turning and thoughts going, right? You're like, okay, I know Dollar Tree, I know Dick's Sporting Goods, I know Salesforce, right? Now, since that you know them, all you have to do is search up what's their ticker symbol. You could do that on Google, and then you can go start looking at their stock, whatnot. Okay, so that is the beautiful thing about Earnings Whispers. Now that you know to use earningswhispers.com on their Twitter page, you can also use their website. So I'm just going to do a quick little run through on their website. So this is the reason, there's 2 reasons why I like Earnings Whispers Twitter page, and that's for that quick, easy snapshot, right? Where you get to see the pictures of the companies, and it makes it very simple. Now, the difference between the Twitter page, right, and their website is their website doesn't actually give you the quick snapshot. Their website actually looks like this. It shows you the ticker symbol and the name of the company, but it doesn't give you that quick snapshot. So the benefit to the Twitter page is like, oh, you know what? I'm just on my phone real quick. I'm going to pop on Twitter. I'm going to go to Earnings Whispers Twitter page, and boom, there it is. I know what companies are going to have earnings. I can look, oh, Best Buy, Dick's Sporting Goods, Lululemon, etc., rather than having to go through their website and go, okay, well, we're going to have JBL, FDS, and looking at this. So for me, it's kind of a personal perspective on what I like better. But the benefit to actually going onto their website is they also provide this kind of, a little bit of extra information, the expectation, right? So when the company is coming out with earnings or it's hasn't yet released their earnings report, they will give you some kind of information that says analysts are expecting this to miss earnings or analysts are expecting the company to beat earnings. So it kind of gives you a forward expectation on what may happen. So that's kind of nice. But at the end of the day, these expectations or predictions of what may or may not happen on an earnings date, you really shouldn't even pay attention to. They're good to take with a grain of salt, but at the end of the day, stocks are going to do whatever they want to do for whatever reasons they want to do them for. Okay. So in terms of their website, where it shows you these extra little bits of information in terms of, they're expected to grow by this, or they're expected to miss earnings by this. I've seen earningswhispers.com say analysts expect it to beat earnings by 10%. And then on earnings day, that company misses by 10%. So then what's that tell you about the expectations? That they can be completely false whenever, and that's it, right? They can be completely false and incorrect. So in my personal experience, I like to use the Twitter page better just to get that quick screenshot of the stocks that are having earnings, okay? So stay with me because this is where it gets good, okay? So now that you're thinking, okay, I could do these earnings plays and things like that, let's look at a few stocks that recently had earnings that were provided to you through Earnings Whispers Twitter page. So right now I'm going to pull up put this on the screen, clear this drawing out. All right, so first what we'll do is we're going to look at, I have 8 stocks we're going to go over, okay? So this is one stock. Let me delete my drawings off of them. This is Dollar Tree. I'm sure many of you are familiar with Dollar Tree. Dollar Tree is a dollar store company. And if you're using Thinkorswim or TD Ameritrade's trading software, whenever you're looking at a stock chart and you see this blue kind of bulb in red phone, that means earnings reports and earnings call. So whenever you see that, what I just circled in yellow on your stock chart, if it's coming up on your stock chart or if it's already passed, you know that that was an earnings day. So for example, look at Dollar Tree, okay? That day it had earnings. It started at $96 a share. By the end of the day, it was trading all the way down at $80 a share. It dropped a total of $16 per share. Crazy. Now, that was from the very tippy top. If we're looking at it in regards of when the stock actually opened on the day, which was right here, it was trading around $90 a share and it dropped to $80. So in terms of when the stock market actually opened, Dollar Tree dropped $10 per share. Now, of course, this is a play in which you would need to be short selling the stock in order to and make profit on the day, or you would have been trading options to the downside in order to make money on this day. Okay. So before we go forward, the nice thing about earnings, once again, is it happens 4 times a year, and the earnings season really goes for about 2 months. You'll have like a strong 2 to 2.5 months where there's just earnings plays all over the place. And then once earnings season stop, you're going to notice the market kind of slows down a little bit, or plays kind of become harder to find. But then when earnings seasons come back on, you're going to have all these easy plays to make. So this would be my advice to some of you guys, right? Is if you're part-time or you're just beginning trading, this is going to be a hard career to master. So don't make it any harder on yourself than you have to. If you're finding yourself struggling to find stocks to trade, then stop doing what you're doing. Take a step back and literally do what I've told you to do on this video. Sit back. There's going to be money to be made every couple months when earnings season starts, okay? And then it will end, and then it will get a little slow, and then earnings season will come back on, and there's going to be plays all over the place. So right now, you don't even have to worry about finding stocks to trade, right? When you're going through earnings seasons, all you have to do is go to earningswhispers.com and go, okay, next week we're going to have Dick's, we'll have Amazon, we'll have Tesla, we'll have Facebook, we'll have Alibaba, we'll have, Caterpillar, we'll have Boeing, we'll have Dick's Sporting Goods, Best Buy, Lululemon, etc. So for one whole week, you can already know what stocks you're planning on trading on those days throughout the whole week because they've been presented to you. It's saying, hey, these companies are going to have earnings. And you know now that on earnings days for these companies, there's usually going to be a big move. So literally for the whole year, you could just only trade the earnings season's time period to make some extra cash, okay? Think about it that way. You already know what stocks to trade for the whole year without having to do any research. You just go to Earnings Whispers Twitter page or .com and go, boom, there are the earnings coming out next week. I'm going to try and trade Best Buy and Salesforce on Monday, Lululemon and Target on Tuesday, Amazon and Facebook on Wednesday, you know, Twitter or, you know, Google on Thursday, et cetera. You already have what you need the whole week going forward. Okay. Now, let's take a look at the next one to give you guys, this is a putting things into perspective for you on just how much these stocks can move. All right, let's go to the next one. This is Ulta Beauty. On the day Ulta Beauty had earnings recently, this was just a couple days ago, actually this past week, okay? Well, the stock opened up at 247 and instantly in the first 5 minutes, 10 minutes of the day, it went from $247 to a high of $268. So you do the math. Right there alone, that was about $20 to $21 per share on that day. Now, some of you might be going, well, some of these stocks are too expensive. Yeah, well, you know, the ones that I'm showing you might be a little expensive, but all the stocks aren't that expensive. You're going to have Twitter, you'll have Dropbox, you'll have different stocks that are going to be $14, $15 a share, $20 a share, $30 a share, $1,000 a share. Okay. Understanding how much money you have to trade with and where you should navigate yourself in terms of which stocks to trade, of course, is going to be your job. But I'm telling you right now, this is one of the easiest ways you guys can use to find good stocks to trade without having to worry about expensive scanners and things like that. So let's just put it into perspective. If you were someone who had, let's say, a couple $1,000s to trade, you know, if you had around $5,000, you might say, oh, well, Ulta Beauty at $200, that's just too expensive. Well, let's put it into perspective. So let's say you had about $5,000. So you had $5,000 to invest. We'll divide that by the opening price, which is about 247 divided by 247. You would be able to afford about 20 shares. So let's do some math here, right? So let's say you bought 20 shares of Ulta Beauty at, let's just make it 248, at 248. That would have cost you 4,960. So remember that number, 4,960. All right, so let's say we take those 20 shares that you bought them at, what we say, 248, and it pops all the way. And let's say you got it sold them out at 266 times by 266. That's 5,320 minus 4,960. You would have made a total of $360 on that trade. So does $360 sound good to you, or is that too little of money? That's another big misconception, is that people think that if they don't have thousands and, well, let me put it this way, don't have 20, 30, $40,000, that they can't make money trading big stocks. That is a false and big misconception. You don't need tons of shares and tons of money to make money trading big price stocks. So this is what ends up throwing the beginner trader or part-time trader into the vicious circle of just trading penny stocks, where they think if I have $5,000 and the stock is $1, I buy 5,000 shares, and if it pops $1, I'll make 5,000. That could happen, and sometimes it does, but don't find yourself only focusing on penny stocks because you think or you feel you can't make money trading bigger stocks, because as I just showed you, you can make $360 in about 6 minutes trading Ulta Beauty with 20 shares. 20. Okay. So let's move forward here. Let's go to the next one. So I'm going to go through the next 8 stocks. We're just going to speed this up. Ooh, let's scroll over. When was there? Oh, here it is, right on it. Okay, so here's another stock, Lululemon. So Lululemon on their earnings day ended up, it was after hours, went from about 138, and by the time it opened up, it was priced at, what is that, 152. So it opened up right here at 152, and actually let me zoom in a little bit. Okay, so it opened up here at $152, and by the time it hit its highs for the day, it was about 158. So it opened up at 152 and it popped straight up to 158. So that right there, big move, just had a $6 per share move. If you guys want to do some math again, just to make things a little crazy. So let's say we had $5,000, right? $5,000 invest, divide that by 152 was the opening price. You could get about 32 shares. We'll do 32 times by 168. You again would have made about $370 right there on that particular trade. Okay, let's go a little step further onto the next one. Now this is a big one, Netflix. Okay, some of you may remember Netflix on their earnings day. It was probably one of the most historical earnings plays I've ever seen in my trading career. I watched this thing drop from $400 all the way down to $344. It ended up losing close to $60 a share overnight. Then the next day, when it opened up, the next day when the market opened up, it went from 300, listen to this, $345 all the way to $385. It made up $40 a share from opening bell to midday trading. After its earnings drop of $60 a share, the next day it opened up and it ripped $40 a share. Okay, let's do some math again. So let's say you only have your $5,000 to invest with. Divide that by 345. That's going to come out to 14 shares. Well, if it gained $40 a share, do 14 times by 40. $560 gain on $5,000 that day. A $5,000 investment would have got you $560 from low to high. Now, of course, there's going to be many of you out there that say, oh, that's if you bought it at the perfect spot and sold it at the perfect high. That's true. It's possible. Is it easy? No, it's not entirely easy. But, you know, you could have ended up buying, what we say, 14 shares. You could have bought those 14 shares and maybe grasped, you know, if you got times by, 10, it moved 10 points. You got $140 on that day with 5,000 shares. Okay. So it is very possible to make money on these high price stocks. That has showed you can do it with $5,000, only buying 10, 20 shares. Okay. So now that we've covered these ones, let's take a look at these guys. These are more earnings plays. Now, these are the earnings plays. If you're watching this video, around the date of 9/9/2018 when I'm making it, this just happened last week. Okay. We had a stock called OKTA. I even mentioned this stock in our pre-market live stream on YouTube. Okay. So if you look at OKTA, let me make this a 5-minute chart. Look at this thing. It gapped up from $60 to a high of 71. So overnight it popped $11 a share. And then from opening price on its low, it ended up going from 66 to a high of 75. Right there is $11 a share. Do you want to do some more math? Now that we have a little bit of a lower price stock, $5,000, or 5,000 divided by what we say, 66, 75 shares, 75 times by 11, $825 on a $5,000 investment. Seems pretty good to me. So don't think just because you have a little bit of money that you can't make a big return on a higher price stock. Okay. Now let's look at the next one. 5 and below. Now this one was a little iffy, but we'll still show it to you. Let's do a 5-minute chart. Okay. So 5 and below ended up gapping up from, 115 overnight. It opened up, dropped down to 128, went from 128 to a high of 136. So that thing moved $8 a share from the low. All right, let's take a look at the next one. AVGO, here's a higher price one too. Let me get all this other stuff off here. Take level 2 down. So AVGO, this is another big one, okay? So looking at a 5-minute chart, from when this thing opened up, it opened up on the day. It went from a 223 to a high of 235. So you do the math, 223 to 235, that's 7. That's $12 a share on that day. Big move. And as you guys can see, just by looking at the charts, you're seeing these big moves. All right, and then the last one, just for the heck of it. Ooh, this will be fun because we're getting a low-priced one in here. So again, you guys are saying, oh, well, those are all high-priced stocks. What about the low price? Here's one, $17 a share. It opened up at $6.20, okay? So let's say 5,000 divided by 16. You got 312 shares. It goes from 16 to a high of 1776. Let's say you sold at the high. So, I mean, you can do the math. It went up, well, I guess we'll just do it times by, what did it go up? $1 a share. So let's just do that. Went from $1. So you made 312, half of that. So you made about a $500 trade right there, $400 trade from $5,000 investment there. Okay. So again, it's very possible to make money even on the low price and the high price stocks. Okay. I just showed you with $5,000, you're actually able to make more money on Lululemon or Ulta Beauty than you were this $17 stock. Think about that. On each example, we did a $5,000 investment. This past one on CLDR shows that you can make about $500 to maybe $450 or $600 if you would have bought it perfectly and sold at the high, whereas for the other one, there was like maybe $200 with the $500 investment. I showed you make $800. But I thought you need to trade low price stocks to make a lot of money on your trade if you don't have a lot of capital. But that's obviously a big misconception because I just showed you. Oh, I think it was Netflix. I just showed you with Netflix, you could have bought 14 or something dollars, 14 shares, and made more money on Netflix that was 345 than you could on this here $17 stock. Interesting. Okay. So that there, ladies and gentlemen, one second. That there, ladies and gentlemen, is all I have for you here on this video. So once again, thank you guys for tuning in. And I hope that helps you really hone in on some of the skills and understand just how you can find good stocks to trade without having to use a scanner, without even having to really join a chat room. Of course, you're still going to need to learn how to trade and how to understand when things are going to move the way that they move and what have you. But that there, ladies and gentlemen, is exactly the easiest way that I could recommend any new trader and part-time trader to find great stocks to trade throughout the whole year with just one simple step. Go to earningswhispers.com or their Twitter page, pull up that little screenshot, and boom, you know exactly what stocks you're going to be trading for the day. Now, note, I will tell you this, that usually the best stocks to trade are going to be the ones that look and have big gaps and are very active and are the big name companies. So thank you guys once again for tuning in. If you see value in the channel, do please give me a thumbs up, a like, subscribe, and a share. And you guys can always join into our stock trading team, which will be the first link in the description below. Or you can click on this little I notification here up at the top that will bring you straight to our website. We are a great trading team and community. And again, if you want to up your game and learn some very cool strategies and things to trading, you can, again, join our trading team below. And we also have a free chat room you can join into, which will be linked in the description of this video. So thank you guys once again for tuning in, and I will see you on the next one.